Is not my child, Your Honor.
Okay, how old was this baby?
2 weeks and 2 days old.
Okay.
Before he
Okay. Was it your first child? And your only child? How do you know this defendant?
About a year ago, we met at a lounge at a bachelorette party.
Uh-huh.
At the time, he seemed amazing. He was wearing a tux. His hair was smooth and his lines were smoother.
He was wearing a tux and he had smooth hair. That's what got you attracted to him?
Well, we talked all evening and he talked about himself, his life. He seemed like the perfect guy.
Right. And what'd you think of her?
I thought she was beautiful, Your Honor.
Okay. So did we end up having a relationship?
Not at all. Your Honor, I'm actually married. I have 2 children.
Were you married when you met her?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so... Well, where was your wife the night you met her? And you were wearing a tuxedo?
She was at home. She went home after the wedding. I was coming from a wedding, my friend's wedding. And she went home after the wedding, and myself and a couple of the other groomsmen went out to a lounge afterwards.
Okay. So you met this lady?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you had to have at some point, I'm assuming.
We had evening, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I've never done this before.
You never did what before?
I had a one-night stand.
Okay. It happens, so I'm told. So as a result of that, you got pregnant?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you had a boy, a girl?
A boy.
Okay. And so how did the baby die?
It's an infant death syndrome.
Well, during the time that you were pregnant, did you ever have contact with this defendant?
I tried to, Your Honor. He had given me a phone number the night that we spent together, but it turns out it was his work number.
Right.
So
didn't you call his job?
I did, Your Honor, multiple times, trying to get in contact with him, trying to figure out what we were going to do together.
Right.
But he didn't want to speak to me. He freaked out when I tried to call him at work. He said he didn't have time to speak with me.
So you went through this pregnancy, 9 months of a pregnancy by yourself?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay. So how many times have you fooled around with your wife?
Never, Your Honor. This was
the first time for you too.
I met my wife when I was 16. We were in high school. We were high school sweethearts.
Right. And you've been with the same woman since you were 16,
yes,
other than that one night
except
that
for the
you
one
were
evening
out
I
with the
spent
slick hair and a tuxedo.
Yes, the one evening I spent with Rebecca.
Okay. And you don't believe this is your child?
No, sir. No, I do not believe it's my child at all. We used, Your Honor. We only together that one time.
Right. So you did use.
Yes.
Well, it isn't always.
No, that's true. It isn't, but it's on 99.6%.
Right. Well, there's always that 0.4.
Yeah, 4/100ths of a chance.
Okay.
I asked her. She did call me at work several times.
Right.
Initially to try and meet with me.
Right.
She tried to play it off, saying that it was casual. Let's go to a movie or lunch or something along those lines.
Right.
I didn't want to do that. As far as I was concerned, I had a little too much to drink that night. I made a horrible mistake, and I wanted to put it behind me as quickly as possible.
And you did. Sometimes you need to pay for. Sometimes you need to pay for your mistakes.
Right.
You know.
So your intention, though, was obviously you intended to have the baby, even though he was saying he didn't want anything to do with it. You were prepared to raise your child by yourself.
Yes, Your Honor. I go to church every Sunday. I don't believe in.
Right.
This is a life.
Right. I hear you.
Do we believe him? Do we think that his story is plausible here, along with her story? Because they're both citing the same thing. He's saying he stepped out of his marriage and this was the first time. And she's saying, I never do a one-night stand. This is the first time. So is that believable in this case? I mean, what do you think the odds of that are? Are you going once a cheater, always a cheater? He's probably done this before. And are you saying, she's single, so this has probably been a normal thing for her too? For me, I don't feel like this has been his first time. It just seems a little bit too quick and easy for him to just suddenly go off with this girl and do that, especially after he just came from a wedding with his wife, because I feel like a wedding is one of those things where it makes you a little more romantic. It makes you think of your partner more, not less. So So he was out with the boys and suddenly his wife disappeared in his mind. And now he's like, yeah, I can just talk to these other girls. And he knew what he was doing because of the phone number he gave her. His wife was on his brain. Otherwise, he would have had no issue with it if he didn't care what she thought. Yeah? Or if he loved his wife enough, he wouldn't have been there in the first place. So it was obviously somewhere in the back of his mind. My bigger question here for her is, did she know he was married when she met him? Did he reveal that to her? That's going to be really interesting. I hope we find that out. Let me know some of your preliminary thoughts. Put it in the comments below. Let's get back.
So we had a paternity test done.
Well, Your Honor, I actually asked her during the time that she's saying that I was unresponsive to her during the pregnancy and those things. After about the 5th or 6th time she called my work, I started to realize that this was not going to go away and just be swept under the rug.
Right.
My wife and I have had an issue with infidelity in the past.
On her part?
On her part, yes. Yes, Your Honor. About 5 years ago, we worked through it.
Excuse me, I'm to try a fact here. I'll let you know when I think it has nothing to do with it. I want to hear about it.
Ooh.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I let my wife know we've actually started attending counseling. We started attending counseling. We go to counseling 2 days a week, and we're working through that.
Right. But you know what, despite all of that, you know, your wife is fooled around, you fooled around, you also have to be responsible for the consequences of your action.
I agree 100%, Your Honor.
And so if it turns out you were indeed the father of this child, then you agree that you would be responsible for these funeral expenses too?
Absolutely, Your Honor. I have no problem doing that. I actually asked her about the paternity test during that pregnancy.
Right.
And she never consented to a paternity test.
Is that true?
Yes, Your Honor.
Well, why wouldn't you have consented to a paternity test? You said he was a dad. He was the only man you go to church every Sunday.
Right, but with those tests comes big risks as to things that can happen to the baby. And I didn't want to
She's right about that.
Yes.
She's right about that. At a certain age.
Yes, it is a medically invasive procedure. However, I was unwilling to cough up, I guess, the expenses for half of an unknown.
Right, but
how selfish is that? This is not something I've done on my own. He is part of it.
Well, you knew this baby had.
I did not, Your Honor. I did not know the baby is until I received the court summons.
Okay,
Your
so
Honor,
you never let him know?
I tried calling multiple times.
We had a paternity test done before the case came to court, and I have not looked at the results. But I'm going to look at the results now.
Okay, jumping back. So yes, there was infidelity in the past. I mean, it didn't come from the side that I thought it came from, which begs the question, did he decide to go through with it because he was still mad at his wife? More of the petty revenge type deal? Or do you think, because you would think that if someone in his position was extremely hurt by his wife's actions, that he would not want to do that to her, because then that would make him like her. Because as it stands right now, it doesn't sound like this is something he has gotten over or would even be something he could get over unless he tries to say an eye for an eye and now I'm over it because we're even, Stephen. I wonder if the wife knows if that's actually come out yet. Jump down in the comments and let me know, do you think if your spouse cheats on you, it's okay for you to cheat on them as revenge? And let's keep going.
And apparently they were able to take a sample from the child at the hospital, and they used that sample. And according to the paternity test, ma'am, the child was not his child. So that had to be somebody else you was with.
Your Honor, she mentioned to me that she had just broken up with her ex-boyfriend recently before we hooked up. That's why she was actually going out with her girlfriends to the bachelorette party to celebrate.
No, that...
Right. Well, you confused?
I mean, I broke up with my boyfriend about a month earlier, but
You had to have slept with somebody else, though. Actually, there is a 0% probability that he was the father. 0.
Wow.
No chance whatsoever.
Believe me, my heart goes out to her. If I had lost my children...
Your heart goes out to us?
Yes. Absolutely.
Your heart goes out to us. Your heart goes out to this son.
It's
Miss
not my
Smalls, Miss Smalls, Miss Smalls.
Miss.
Give her tissue. Do we have any tissue? Miss Smalls, I've never had any children. I don't know what it must be like to lose a child, but I have to imagine that it's very painful. And this is not just about the fact that he's not the father, because the bottom line is you don't have your baby. And my heart goes out to you. All right? You gonna take her outside? Yeah. All right, the case is dismissed. Good luck to you.
Well, that ended a lot differently than I thought. I'm not sure what she expected him to say after they determined that it wasn't his. I mean, that's the polite thing that he could do. My heart goes out to you. I mean, what did she want him to do? Maybe she had built it up in her mind all the months during the pregnancy and everything that, it was his, and she had convinced herself. It was like her reality just got shattered because she had built this so much and believed it so much that it was part of her identity and her identity with this child, with him. And that, I'm sure, is what is fueling her reaction. But he did the right thing. And in this case, obviously he doesn't need to pay. He did need to tell his wife, and I do hope that she found out. Even with her past and him, the only way that they could ever work through this would be for them to completely sit down and be open about everything that each side has done. Because they're going to have to start from a clean slate, like it's all out, there's nothing else, there's no secrets. Otherwise, it's not going to go anywhere, and they're not going to be able to have a long, successful marriage. But for her, that is a big gap. A month is a long enough gap for you to know who that baby's father was. So there definitely had to be someone else closer to that time. But it's sad, and I hope that she finds a way to handle this grief, because that's going to stay with her the rest of her life. Let me know what you think about this case. Put it in the comments below.